The British practically invented banter. But now, explosive new employment laws reveal a heated debate. Should overheard jokes land you in court? One guest challenges, "This is the death knell for the good old British pub." Another confronts the rising costs of diversity officers, calling it costly and unnecessary. On GB News, voices clash over free speech, business burdens, and the future of workplace humour. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to stay updated.
Kingston, Will, what is your take? Oh, look, you're an Australian. We've got to come clean on this. You're an Australian. I automatically assume banter's not a problem to you. I'm from Belfast. It is like a religion to us. So where do you stand?
Well, it shouldn't be a problem to the British either. The British practically invented banter. This is what's so outrageous about it. But the thing is that this policy basically combines the two things, perhaps the only two things that this government believes in, and that is suppressing speech and hurting business. And if you take those two things in turn, on the speech side, there's this mentality, and I think, and we were talking about this during the break, particularly prevalent among some young people, that words are instilled with this magical evil power, and it is up to a central authority or the government or an arbiter to say, we need to protect adults from the consequences of those nasty words. And then on to your point around the fact the business environment at the moment is already being hammered by higher taxes, higher regulation and exodus of talent as a result of this government. And it's just going to be made worse by more and more costs. There's no benefit to this.
Kings of banter to my right-hand side here, Lee and Jonathan. Well, give me, what do you think? What do you think?
I think it's... I agree with Will. I think it's costly, unnecessary, and this is partly why I think this country needs to have free speech written into the Constitution, or if we have a Constitution, that should be in it, because I just feel that it's been eroded. I mean, we've got Lucy Connolly in prison for a tweet, 31 months in prison for just words. It terrifies me, the whole thing. But there is a logistic reason why this is bad news as well, and that is because it's additional burden in terms of cost for businesses with these ridiculous, pointless diversity officers that are probably going to get paid, what, 70+ grand a year for monitoring speech and making sure people are hiring the right colour of person. The whole thing is so counterproductive, and it wouldn't surprise me if this happened.
I suppose there may be some sort of need to control what some idiots will say and what they mean and how hurtful it is. But I suppose we're talking from a point of view that there's only humour really involved in it, and what's the harm in it?
Look, I think that banter is very important. I think, you know, I'm a left-wing person, but I'm not joyless or humorless in the slightest, contrary to what some of your viewers may think.
You can see a butt coming here.
And no, I think I think having a joke is vital. It's not just a nice to have; it's absolutely vital. What I do think is that if you are going to be making overtly, imagine that you're a black person in office and two white people in the corner of the room are loudly having a racist conversation with racial slurs. Should that be permitted in the workplace? I would say no, that is indirect racial harassment, even if it's not being directly targeted at you. If people are very loudly having a sort of a misogynistic conversation and you're a woman, I think that should also be wrong. I think there are professional standards.
Why isn't being fired not an appropriate remedy? Why does the government have to get involved?
Well, I think that being fired is an appropriate remedy. I'm not, you know, I don't know. I'm not sure the government is saying that you should be that there should be criminal sanctions for it. But it's about sort of having people in the workplace who might be able to sort of mediate and offer advice about these types of issues.
But it's not just this, though. Like, this takes it a step further than that to third parties. So this could be a pub being potentially taken to court because someone in the pub, a customer at that time, says an off-coloured joke and the bartender hears it and the bar is liable for that. That is how this can be interpreted.
Realistically, that is never going to happen. Because what you'd have in that scenario...
Well, you'd be surprised that will happen. What you'd have in this
scenario is that if, for example, the manager refused to intervene if someone was offended, and then that